mindful eating practice. For this practice, I invite you to pick a small food item that you have around the house. Now, you may be inclined to select something you enjoy, but the invitation here is to try and select an item you might not particularly like or think you like. It might be a small piece of fresh or dried fruit, a vegetable, a nut, a potato chip. Have access to two of the same item. Here is what I have for this practice. So take your time and go ahead and get two of the same item. We're going to take a 60-second break in here, but if you need more time, just go ahead and hit the pause button. So we'll now move into the mindful eating practice. You may have heard of such a practice, and if you have, I ask you to drop any notions or expectations that you have of it and simply be with this experience as best as you can. So having access to your two food items, notice that you may already have judgments about these items. Notice how you might think you know what this is and how it might taste. Can you possibly drop whatever your thoughts or notions might be? In here, we are going to start to really develop some objective seeing skills without infusing it to the best we are able with our biases, judgments, thoughts about it. And what I'm inviting you to do now is to take one of these items and place it on your palm. And as you take this one item, I just want you to study it as if you were a scientist who just showed up in some previously unexplored territory and you have discovered this thing and you need to make some very objective notes on what you observe here. Now, as you look at this item, I just want you to say to yourself or name anything that you notice, anything that you see, anything that you can take in through your eyes. We're not labeling the item right now, but just say a few things that you notice with full attention. What do you see? What's the texture of this item? What's the weight of this item? Do you notice the size, the shape, the color? What's it like to just notice? So for me, I can see that it's mostly red in color, but slightly around the edges, it's maybe a little dark brownish. I can see the ridges. I can also feel that it's very light in weight. So just using your sense of sight, what do you notice? And now let's take this item and bring it to your ear. Excuse me. What do you notice? We take the world in through sound as well. And as you bring this to your ear, is there anything you pick up from this domain of knowing, ear consciousness? What's it like to listen, to hear? Maybe you hear nothing. Maybe you notice silence. For me, as I move this item in between my fingers, I notice a certain crackling sound. Now let's go ahead and take this item to our nose. And just letting your nose consciousness move forward here. Can you receive anything through the sense of smell? Any objective observations from smell? What's it like to just smell this item? To notice scent? Just noticing something that usually goes so unnoticed. And now, I would like for you to take it to your lips. Do not place it in your mouth, but just taking the item to your lips. And as you take it there, and as it rests there on your lips, is there anything that you are aware of now? Anything that might be occurring for you? You may notice that your mouth is beginning to salivate. Perhaps you notice this. If anyone ever doubted that there is a strong connection between mind and body, just the anticipation of the body starting to secrete. Now, opening your lips and placing this item on your tongue. Attentive to not chew yet if you can. Attentive to not swallow. And if you can, not even swallowing possibly the saliva that might be building. And just sensing the weight of this item on your tongue. Perhaps towards the front of your mouth. If the item is small enough, inviting you to place it between your teeth. Once positioned in such a way, feeling fully the anticipation and the frustration of this waiting, this me continuing to talk, all this phenomena that are arising here. And now, placing this item between the teeth and making a very conscious choice to bite into this item. And as you bite into it, perhaps now naming it with some recognition. For me, it was a cranberry, a dried up cranberry. So naming the item for you and still trying to feel the fullness of this whole experience in your mouth, the largeness of this, and very attentively and consciously chewing several bites, observing, sensing, tasting flavors, juices, and holding for as long as you can until you might choose to swallow some of the juice and maybe some of this food item. And then to the degree that you have any conscious control remaining, swallowing, if you haven't already, swallowing this item and exploring the possibility of tracking it down the throat, down into the body system, moving into all of these wondrous processes that will take the nutrients from this food and disperse them into your system. The whole digestion process, imagining, feeling this more and more in your body. And just taking this moment to sense your body receiving this item. And just knowing that your body in this moment is this one item heavier. And inviting you all in this moment to just notice what was that experience for you. What showed up for you? Many people share how this was such an interesting experience. We spend so much of our time engaging in eating, but do we really ever show up for that? Can we sense and be open to receiving the food that we eat? Others also notice being frustrated with how slow we go with this. So intentionally committing to patience, to non-judgment, letting go of any fixed ideas. And finally, there's one item left. I ask you to eat it mindfully. Take in that item through your various senses. Just in this moment, your sense of smell is kicking in. Your sight is kicking in. Perhaps sound. And as you chew, I just want you to give some consideration to where this item came from, how it came into being. For me, perhaps, it was the result of a seed planted and cared for. Perhaps it's the result of many processes that contributed to its creation. A whole series of events were required to ultimately bring this item forward. Many processes, many people, equipment, you being able to go to the store and purchase this item and bring it home, all required to make this possible. And especially during this time, this pandemic that we find ourselves in, where we have so much to be grateful for, but especially the farmers who are working hard to grow the food for us, to all of the people involved in the middle process, from the farming and getting it to the store, and to the grocery store workers. So many people involved. So much is required to make this simple act possible. So much to be grateful for. So much to notice that we otherwise take for granted. And often, at the end of this practice, I invite participants to just label what came up for them during this experience. Anything that you observed or became aware of. So I invite you to either write that down for yourselves or just say it out aloud. Thank you.